Just to make it 28-3. Arthur Blank loving it. Up by 25. Toss to White. He's in! What a comeback!
All right, welcome to another episode of the 28-3 podcast. Today, we're going to do a very special episode. We're going to count down the best Saints at each position.
Right.
So you've got the list next to us.
Yep.
So we're going to go quarterback, running back, fullback, wide receiver, tight end, offensive tackle, offensive guard, center, defensive tackle, edge, which is going to be outside linebacker or defensive end. And then we're going to go middle linebacker, cornerback, safety, punt returner, kick returner would be one category. We'll just call it returner. And then we have kicker, punter, and special teamer.
Yeah. And for those keeping up at home / me before this episode, this is not a lineup. This isn't a depth chart, as in you're filling
It's
it out.
just a singular
like we're
best
taking,
player at each position.
So we're doing one wide out, not two, et cetera.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
And it's a little tricky since we're going to include edge being outside linebacker and defensive end. Obviously, 3-4, 4-3. Kind of made it a little tricky, but we're just going to call it edge for our purposes today. So I think with quarterback, obviously, there's one answer for this one. So we'll go ahead and skip number one. Just for the sport of it, let's go ahead and debate who number two would be.
Okay.
So, Corey, we'll let you go first.
Okay. Number two for me, man. And oh yeah, this brings me to another parameter. We're only talking about their performance as a Saint.
Correct.
Correct. You know, we're not considering what they've done as a player in years past.
We'll call it the Zach Bond rule. You know what I mean? Like he did pretty much nothing for 4 years with us, and then goes on to be first team All-Pro. But for these purposes, we're only tracking what they did in their career as a Saint.
Yeah. You know, I know we had talked about, you know, when we had Derek Carr when he first signed, and then even after his first year, we talked about the fact that he might be the second best guy just based on performance / stats alone.
He's the second best player that's ever played the position for us. I think that's fair to say.
If you look at total resume, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to put him in this for me. I mean, he can be
well,
for
you
y'all.
can't because it's only 2 years. And
You can, but you should.
You
Like,
could, but
yeah.
you shouldn't.
So for me, it's a tough. I got to go Archie as the second best. You know, I mean, it was for me. It's between him and Brooks. You know, Brooks gets you your first playoff win. The eye test on Brooks is during his good games was like, holy shit, this guy's awesome.
I think you can say, but for 2 years.
Yeah,
the third year,
you know,
it's got
so
off the-
I gotta go with the overall body of work as a Saint. You know, what did we say? Didn't Archie, he won Offensive Player of the Year 1 year? I mean,
I think it was NFC offensive.
or NFC.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, by and large, if you're going between Archie and
Well, time out. Uncle Computer over here, you don't have the that information?
What?
Did Archie get Offensive Player of the Year?
I think it was NFC. I'll look it up to be sure.
Yeah.
I said I think it's NFC, not NFL.
but I'm gonna go Archie.
Okay.
Because it's just, I know it's different eras and you can make an argument either way, but there's too many years of him doing a hell of a lot with a hell of a little.
Okay.
And not to say, I mean, Brooks had more talent around him than Archie, I would say. He had more Brooks had more wins, but
UPI NFC Player of the Year and Sporting News NFC Player of the Year. Not
Okay.
NFL, but NFC.
okay. Either way. I'm
Still
gonna
good.
I'm
Still
gonna go Archie.
Yeah, that's, you know, it's a two-man race. I'm looking at Saints' career passing stats right here.
You think it's a two-man race?
I mean, let's look at the
put
top
Bobby
10.
into that race?
Well,
as
let's
the
look at the top 10. So you got Ken Stabler, Steve Walsh, Derek Carr at 8, Dave Wilson, Billy Kilmer. Then we slide into the top 5 where it gets a little more respectable. Jim Everett had that 1 or 2 good years.
Yeah.
Bobby, I can't put Bobby there just because he was – I think he was a big reason why we didn't win a playoff game in the Dome Patrol era. You know what I mean? Like his performances in the playoffs were not the best. Aaron Brooks got us the first playoff win, which you have to give bonus points for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was he he got so many of us off the ledge as Saints fans. It's
true.
You know, we were teetering on the edge, like we're never going to win a playoff game. You know, you and I went to the game together, and it was fucking incredible. Like, obviously, until that point, that was the biggest moment in Saints history.
About the Hakeem drops the ball game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was
it was incredible.
Yeah.
We were sitting by our guy, the plumber, majored in plumbing, minored in plumbing. You know, he's got to get bonus points for that. Archie, total body of work. Obviously, it's a different era. The team was absolute shit. That being said, he was a one-man gang on that team of absolute shit, so you got to give some credit there. I don't know, man. I'm torn on this one. I usually say Brooks on the strength of the playoff win, just because that was so monumental.
It's a tough. I think it's a tough one.
Tough. It's tough.
mean,
I'm not putting
tough.
Bobby there. Bobby, absolutely not.
I think this is going to be one of the tougher debates, honestly.
I think so too. And it's funny because we're debating the second best
right? Just because
on an episode of the best, but I don't know, man.
I disagree with you a little bit that you can't put Bobby there. I mean, you know, this was a terrible franchise, and he won over. I think he won over 60%. Maybe somebody could check that. I think he won over 60% of his games as a starter. We made the playoffs multiple times with him there. He was the quarterback. Now, I don't give him credit for those teams completely, but he was the leader of the team when the team became a respectable franchise. It's hard for me. We all want to put Archie there, right? Because Archie's, you know, he's quintessential Saints. He's still around all the time, part of the Saints. You know, the family legacy, everything else. We all love him. If we had to pick a personality, it would be Archie for sure.
Without question.
But his career and his numbers and his winning were terrible. And again, I don't blame Archie completely for that because he was obviously, you know, the highest quarterback we've ever drafted. Was he the last first-round pick we've taken at quarterback? Still the only?
Yeah.
Still we haven't done it, even though this year we went a second-round pick. So without really watching him.
That's the thing. We never got to watch him.
And looking at his numbers and the team success was terrible. So I'm gonna choose between Brooks and Bobby.
Oh wow!
Because I feel like that's when we became a good team.
Okay, that's fair. Make the case for Bobby then. What you got? Well, actually, let me lay this out.
I think he's not the reason. He's not a Drew Brees reason the franchise turned around, but he was at the helm when we turned around. So I think that's a big deal. We were a losing franchise all the way up until the mid-'80s. Every year. We were basically the Browns until Bobby and the Dome Patrol, right? So, and I guess that's when I became a fan too, so maybe I overweight it, is when I started really watching the Saints. It was Bobby. I think if I had to pick a second best quarterback year, it's absolutely the Aaron Brooks year, without a question, because that was a secondary. That was the next step after Bobby, was winning a playoff game, because we had never done that. But I'm going to give it to Bobby as number 2.
Wow. Okay, well, let me push back. Bobby's career stats in the playoffs with the Saints. Mm-hmm. Career passer rating of 57.1, 648 yards, 3 touchdowns, 7 interceptions in 3 games.
Yeah, it's bad.
Pretty brutal.
Now read me Archie's.
Well,
never went. Okay, so I'm just saying, it's like,
see what you did there.
Right, is losing the Super Bowl worse than not going? No. You want to go to the Super Bowl, right? He got us to the playoffs for the first time. He went, you said 3 times. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the Saints.
So
obviously the run with the Falcons, but that doesn't count.
He didn't go to the playoffs with them. They were terrible with him. He wasn't terrible, but they were terrible, I think. You can check that if you want. I don't think they went to the playoffs. I think it's hard because Brooks, it almost falls to the Carr argument of, do we have enough run from Brooks to say that, enough success? For me, it was 2 years that Brooks was super fun. It was the year he became starter and we all got super amped, and the year he won the playoff game. And then he has probably some of the most comical plays in Saints history on his resume too.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, throwing backwards to deuce. Yeah. I mean, he has some epic ones that are there.
Let me hold on real quick though. Yeah. Bobby Hebert, Falcons. He was the starting quarterback in 92. They went 12-4, best in franchise
Oh,
history
did
at
they?
the time.
Okay.
Earned a Pro Bowl
mind.
selection in 93 while playing for Atlanta. He had 3,200
wait.
yards and 19 touchdowns. Oh,
He
no.
played for them in '92.
Yeah.
Who was our quarterback in '92?
He was us. That was shit. You got to look it
I'm
up.
checking this.
I'm surprised you don't remember Bobby with the playoff run. He was
Playoff
doing
run?
I mean, they were getting to the playoffs with the Falcons.
Hold on. Let's see.
Yeah. So anyway,
This has that as New Orleans. I guess we got to check this. Hold on. Let me check ES.
I know he took the Falcons to the playoffs. I remember it.
What was his overall record with the Falcons?
Let's see. It says he played for the Falcons from 91 to 96. The 96 season they went or 92 they went 12-4. I don't have the career stats right here. But let's look at Aaron Brooks in the playoffs. 2 games, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. One of them obviously a win. The second one was against that Minnesota team, which was loaded. We
Dude,
really had no chance
I think
on that
something's
one.
wrong, dude.
He took the Falcons to the playoffs.
I'm looking at the 1992 Saints rosters. Bobby Hebert's the
It's
quarterback.
not 92. That's wrong on here. Then this is
It says we went 12-4 with Bobby Hebert as our starter. Mike Buck back up. Is this wrong?
says in 93 you earned a Pro Bowl selection.
Are you trusting AI already?
It's not AI,
Too
but
soon. You sure? Scroll up.
damn, this thing is steering me wrong. Let's see.
Look it up.
Oh,
Corey,
it's
you look
93.
at
93. Yeah, 93.
93. What's our record? What's Atlanta's record in 93? What do you have?
Never mind, that is messed up. Goddamn AI. Look at that.
So he
It
went
basically put the
12-4
Saints-
with the Saints and went
Well,
to the
shit,
playoffs.
I take that back.
Man, I was questioning everything there for a second.
Yeah, right? Well, here you go, kids. Don't trust AI all the time, apparently.
You cannot.
So he was 12-4 his last year with us. Is that what you're seeing now?
Yeah,
Okay.
12-4.
I get it. I can't argue with choosing Aaron or Archie. I'm going to go Bobby because that's when I started watching that, and he turned us into a winner. I think one year we were having a great year too, and he got hurt. If I remember, we went to the playoff. I know we got killed by the Vikings in one of those, and I think he threw a ton of picks. I think against the Eagles, he threw a ton of picks also in the playoffs in the Dome. So yeah, no playoff success, fair enough. But he went to the playoffs 3 times. I don't think we had ever been prior to him.
We had not.
Brooks made the playoffs 1 time, correct? Just the year we won one. So I think it's a debate that's fair to say. I'm just going to go Bobby just because I think that's when we turned the franchise around, and you know we've had down years for sure since then. But
Time out. Here it is. He made the Pro Bowl with the Falcons in 93, even though he went 4-8 apparently.
okay, he didn't play bad for them when he left us. I remember that. I just didn't think they had much success. But and then he fell off pretty quickly.
Yeah, Jeff George popped up
Yep.
the next year.
So what were his stats in that year, in that Pro Bowl year? Were they good?
In 93, he went 24 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, not even 3,000 yards. That's back with the...
Yeah, but he only played 12 games, so that's pretty good. He's going to throw 30 touchdowns probably and be at 3,500 yards if you miss 4 games.
Yeah.
So back then, Favre was throwing 20 interceptions.
How the hell did he get to the Pro Bowl, though?
Yeah, well, did they vote on it before the end of the season? Did maybe he missed the last few games or something? I don't
Maybe.
know. I can't remember that.
Either way.
He was a Falcon. I could give a shit. But
So you're going Bobby.
I'm going to go Bobby just because for me personally, but I can't go against any of that. I mean, winning 60... Did you check his Saints record, Corey? What was his Saints record? I think he won 60% of his games as a starter for the Saints. That's legit for a franchise that was probably around 30% when he came in.
Yeah.
It was all defensive driven. I get that, but
That's
still
fun.
pretty impressive.
Yeah. Our picture's still good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Our
Lost our
monitor.
monitor.
Just fell. That's
Boom.
fun.
Okay. So what's your final, Max, on that?
Man, I'm going AB.
Okay.
Just on the playoff.
I'm good with that. And Corey went Archie.
Yeah.
So I think all those are fair choices, honestly. There's an argument for each.
Yeah.
Archie was probably the best player out of those 3.
I would agree. Yeah, I think Archie's the best player, but I mean, we couldn't lay our own eyes on him because some of us weren't even born when he started playing. So
None of us were actually.
yeah, or even for some of us weren't even here for his tenure with the Saints at all.
That's correct. That would be me.
Yeah.
If that's what you're saying. Some
That
of
is
us.
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
one of us.
But okay, cool. So we have 3 different answers for
All right,
the number
so I'm
2
going-
quarterback of all time, which is
Archie.
yeah. You got Archie. I've got
I'll put
AB.
number 2.
I don't think we need to go into this much detail for something nobody's going to see.
This is the only position we're doing a number 2 just because it's such a landslide.
Archie.
No,
No,
No.
Aaron Brooks.
AB
Brooks.
and Bobby. All 3 represented.
There
I
we
think
go.
that's a fair way to do it.
There we go.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to running back. Corey, you're up.
Ooh, another tough one. Yeah, for me, it's between Deuce and AK. Straight up. I think without having their stats in front of me right now, I'm going to. I know this, y'all going to say, oh, youngin, but I'm going to go with AK. I just think it's a close one. It's absolutely no knock to Deuce because Deuce is an absolute fucking beast. And it different eras, different styles. Some would even argue. I think there's a lot, maybe even y'all, that if the choice was between Deuce in his absolute prime versus AK, there's a lot of people that might go with Deuce because people forget he was almost just as good as catching the ball out of the backfield as AK was.
I would,
And
without question, say
could-
Deuce if you were picking his peak.
He could truck people better than AK.
Peak is absolutely Deuce.
More between the tackles, but
Yeah, that's not even in question.
I'm gonna go with AK. I think, but as Saints fans, we know their records speak for themselves. If we were talking to an audience outside of our fanhood, then maybe we would explain the ins and outs of it. But to me, I think AK brings more at the edge is that he brings more to the table. I would say, without looking at it in front of me, I feel like at this point their longevity is pretty comparable. If not, AK's got a little bit.
I think AK's
more.
more.
AK's got to
longevity.
be by
Yeah.
a mile.
So that's
Deuce
where-
had like 4 real
Yeah,
complete seasons.
Yeah, the knee
Because of
surgery's
injuries.
crushed him.
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna go with AK.
Okay, I'll go ahead and go. AK, I
Yeah.
think it's actually pretty simple. Even with the last couple of seasons, the DA era, where we've had AK being misused, miscast, whatever you want to say, them running him, pounding him into the line. I think if Sean Payton had stuck around and Breeze had stuck around for a few more years, AK would have blown past. He'd be firmly on that Hall of Fame discussion.
I
like
agree
you and
with
I talk
Breeze,
about all the time.
but his last Peyton season was pretty rough too.
No, it was because the quarterback situation was god awful, and he was the only dependable player at that point. We had no receivers that year.
Yeah.
So it's a shame because the Saints, by their own malpractice with hiring DA and not focusing on the other positions around him, they did him a complete disservice because he's probably going to miss the Hall of Fame unless he gets a late career surge over the next couple of years. You and I talk about it all the time. He's got to hit a magic number in touchdowns.
Yeah, but that's only 14 more, right? So I'm not ready to say he's not going to. I mean,
I'm not saying it's tougher than you would have thought 4 years ago.
I think his actual resume is tougher, seeing as he's never had a 1,000-yard season. There's a lot of like weird stuff where you would have to put someone in that they've never put in. Now,
Right.
I believe that they're going to have to start doing that because the game is so different. I believe that's going to be a thing that they have to wrap their head around. The cases in his era are like you're up against Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, who he actually outstats Christian McCaffrey. But Christian McCaffrey also has those 1,500-yard seasons under his belt.
Yeah.
He has like those anchor seasons that AK doesn't have unless you start to look at more of the modern game of 500 rushing, 500 receiving in the same season. He's the only guy, I think, to do that 8 times. He's got stuff on his resume that's never happened. So I think he should be a Hall of Famer. But he's going to be a test case for the Hall of Fame because there isn't a player like him that's in the Hall of Fame.
You're picking him as your number one.
I am, but I think I think this is much closer than even we're saying. I think you have to take into account that if AK would have gone to a different team than he did, I don't think he is sitting where he is today, career-wise. I think he would have been a very good player no matter what, but I think sometimes you just get the perfect player for an offense, and he was the perfect player for that era of Drew Brees where he had to give up the deep ball a little bit. We had to focus a little bit more on short game, control the ball, time of possession. He could do it all, and he could do it all very well. I don't know that he had that dominant running back in him, whereas I think Deuce did. Deuce was a dominant running back. I think
injuries got him, though.
Yeah, the knees got him. And to me, this is clearly AK. So I'm not making a case against AK at all. I'm just saying Deuce came into a terrible situation in 2001 on a team that wasn't very good. AK came into a perennial, the best quarterback in the league at the time, probably. An offensive-minded coach who was going to get him touches, going to incorporate him the best way.
Well, hold on. AK came to a team that had basically a top 10 pick. It's the year we picked Lattimore. So we were coming off the bad couple of years.
Yeah, we were 7-9, but we had Drew Brees. Like, that was we were still a good team.
So Deuce came in 01.
Yeah.
We won the playoff game. Was 99-2000, right?
90. We got Deuce. What pick were we?
It was
Deuce?
the
12?
next year. No, he was in the 20s.
20s. What was our record before Deuce? I don't remember that.
Keep talking while I look it up.
We drafted Ricky in 99 and we traded all the picks away for 2000. So we drafted Deuce the year after we got our first round pick back. Was it right after the playoff win? Might have been right after the playoff win. It was.
Yeah.
So we won the playoff.
So he wasn't coming to a bad situation, is what I was coming into.
Okay, so it was better. I mean, that team wasn't that great, but the much better team than I was giving it credit for. But not a Drew Brees team, and not a.
If he was drafted in 01, the 2000 team went 10-6.
They won the playoff game.
Right.
Yeah.
And the 2001 team went 7-9, then 9-7, then 8-8, then 8-8.
Then Katrina.
Yeah.
So
the point is, he came into roughly the same situation AK did.
Yeah. Well, I don't think so. I think Evan Brees makes it way different. But regardless.
Well, no, that draft that Kamara was a part of basically built the foundation for that team other than Brees.
I'm just talking about coming into a situation as a running back. He was coming into a much better situation than Deuce was coming into with Aaron Brooks and the crew there. The Drew Brees is a game changer for every player that's played with him. So it's not a knock on Alvin in any way whatsoever. It's just you go. I mean, Lance Moore's a 1,000-yard receiver. Snead's come on, the guy elevated everyone around him. He was just a difference maker. The other person that I think, we've had great running backs. Ricky came into the league, had multiple 1,000-yard seasons to start his career before we traded him. You had Ingram was the leading rusher until AK just broke it. You had George Rogers led the league in rushing, had over 1,600 yards. Dalton Hilliard had an 18-touchdown season, I believe. Reuben Mays was top 5 in the league in rushing one year. Like, that's one thing the Saints have a long history of pretty good players is running back. I just don't see how you get past AK and the run that he made and the longevity. No one's touched his longevity with the Saints.
Yeah, it's AK and Deuce. One of those two. I think we're all going to go AK.
Who's Deuce has the best season ever rushing, right? 1,800-yard season? Do you have that up?
Yeah.
And I think
Deuce
Rodgers is second.
1641 was his peak.
1641. What was
Rodgers was first.
Oh, his was 1,800 yards?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's an insane season in a 16-game season.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. George Rogers, 1674. So I think they were dead even. So Deuce's was... Rodgers was 1674. Deuce was 1641.
Okay. So best 2 seasons ever, 1,600 yards. So I think we actually have a history here to draw on, whereas a lot of positions we don't.
Yeah.
This was, for Saints, we've had a ton of good running. Reggie, we didn't even talk about. Pierre, we didn't talk about. Pierre as a player, we should at least be talking about it. He could do everything.
Yeah.
He was the Super Bowl.
How about Sproles for that one year?
Sproles. I mean,
won a couple years.
Yeah, I think
we'll get to him later.
We have a lot of candidates for if this was
third.
best year ever at each position.
Yeah.
I think that would
Well, there's a reason we're not doing that, and I
Right,
think you'll see
exactly.
it on the defense.
right
when we get
exactly.
to
I
it.
think that would narrow the debate a
So,
lot. But
I'll shut up. I just wanted to mention a couple of those because
that
there's
makes
some
it open and shut.
that Deuce season needs to be mentioned, and that
Absolutely.
George Rogers season needs to be mentioned.
It's
Those,
probably the best running back season in Saints history, the Deuce one.
I think it is.
When you
'cause
factor in his
he was 2,000
receiving as
total
well.
yards, right?
Yeah,
And him and AK are the only two to do that. Didn't AK do that one? No, he didn't. AK's never done it. So
yeah, Deuce that year. So the year we're talking about is 2003. He went 1641, only 8 rushing touchdowns, which is kind of surprising. And then he had another 516 yards receiving.
So he's 2,100
with
yards.
0 rushing or receiving touchdowns. We only had 8 touchdowns this year. That's kind of crazy.
yeah, but that's a crazy year.
So he
20
peaked at 16 touchdowns in a season. That was his peak. AK did better than that.
AK had a 20 TD season.
Yeah.
Or 18.
AK, yeah, he had 13 his rookie year. He had 18 his second year, 6 his third, 21
There
his
it is.
fourth,
21.
9 his fifth. See, that's when, God damn it. You just realize like what he should have been a fucking shoe-in if he just stays in the same offense with Breeze and Peyton.
Well, Breeze
he just rolls.
You know, Breeze was old.
Just keeping his level of health that he had.
He still can. He needs another couple. He needs to be our starter for the next 2 years. And if he plays 14 games as our starter, I think he's got a really good shot. But
Yeah.
there's
hoping
work
he
to be
gets
done.
All right, let's move on to wide receiver.
Okay.
This one, I have a feeling, is going to get controversial. So we're gonna let the king of the hot takes, Corey Mall. start
wait,
us
okay.
off.
So Nick, give me your final answer on running back. I was
Yeah,
fucking
it's
with the
AK.
graphic.
I mean, I don't think there's any
Okay, you just
dispute.
wanted to
Yeah.
make sure all the other guys got mentioned.
Yeah, I just think
Nick's big on the honorable mentions. So.
we have a lot of good running backs. We
No,
don't
we
have
do.
a lot of good players at a lot of positions.
But the next position we have is fullback.
I'm sorry.
And
I forgot about fullback.
For those of us who
This one's
don't
tough.
know, IYKYK, it's Lorenzo Neal. There's no debate. Last time we did that, it got a little hairy. But
No, we don't. Look,
no, I'm going Lorenzo Neal, fullback, because in my definition, a fullback is a lead blocker. So, for me, best fullback, best lead blocker, Saints history, Lorenzo Neal. I'm not going to go.
But was he? I mean,
I'm not
like,
going to go in NFL history like that one time.
because
well,
again,
was he was here 4 years.
4 years, right? So that's my point. He is no doubt the best fullback that ever played, like
Correct.
player.
Look,
Is there anyone you would consider besides him because he only played 4 years here?
of course.
How about Mike Carney?
There's Mike Carney. There's Heath Evans. Who was it? But I think actually he was shorter than Lorenzo.
How about John Kuhn?
Kuhn? Carney, and
How about
then
Ricky Ortiz? The only player I've ever seen with my name.
yeah,
In the
there's
NFL,
that
number 30, maybe.
God, there's someone I'm missing between, or maybe I'm thinking of Evans between Carney and God, not Jed Collins.
I love Jet.
He was fun. Somebody else I'm not thinking.
Not
of.
Adam Prentice.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Nor would it be Josh Hill lined up in the fullback position.
Look, I'm going Lorenzo Neal just for the fact that in his rookie year he had 21 carries for 175 yards with a long of 74.
It's a pretty badass. as a
And he
fullback.
also had a long reception. I got to find out where it is.
He had that crazy run. That's one of the best Saints runs ever.
He had a 69-yard reception in his third year with us.
Yeah,
Lorenzo Neal, fuck it. 4 years, I'm good enough.
Okay, I just looked up one article just to see. They put Ironhead in that at fullback.
Oh, shit.
I always viewed him as more of a tailback, but I could see it. You know, I mean, because when he lined up in the backfield, it was to give him the ball. I feel like.
No, that's a good point. But he
yes
was
and no, but-
Jim Brown, technically a fullback.
But wait, we were
I mean, I know, but he's a tailback. Come on.
look up his Saints years. That's
I'm looking at it right
That's
now.
Dalton Hilliard and Ruben Mays running for 1,000+
Yeah.
yards while he's there.
Right. So
Now,
what are you trying to say?
Would I call him a lead blocker?
No, I
But
don't- no.
I would not. I agree
Ironhead
with you.
wasn't the lead blocker,
I agree with
but I mean, but then again, like we've established,
This is.
we established towards the very beginning of this podcast.
Well, hold on. So here we
couple
go.
years ago,
Pro Football
people have
Reference
different
list
definitions
him
of,
year by year. They do the positions based on what they were, I guess, designated to the league as. So rookie year with us, fullback. 89 fullback. 90 fullback. 91 they have him as a running back. 92 fullback. So talking about Ironhead.
Yeah.
Shit, man. I'm going Ironhead. Fuck it.
All right. That's
This also may be a product of the position, but just looking up a random site, they had Tony Galbraith number 1. He's the Saints Hall of Famer. Wayne Wilson, Hokie Gajan, Ironhead, Buford Jordan.
Buford Jordan. Hell
Jordan.
Yeah.
So my only argument against Neal would be that it was 4 years and he hadn't developed into that dominant lead blocker
Yeah,
with
he
us.
hadn't.
He definitely did when he left.
Yeah.
There's no question.
He's hands down the best fullback, one of the best in NFL
Best
history.
blocking.
In NFL
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
But
if you're going outside of
with the
blockers,
Saints, I'm going Ironhead, man. I did not watch Tony Galbert.
Me
I did
neither.
not
That's
watch
the
Wayne
problem.
Wilson. I didn't watch Hokie.
Right.
I remember Buford Jordan.
I remember him, but I don't remember him being a great. Like the name's
He
awesome.
was number 36, I think, huh?
I
He
think,
had the neck roll.
Yeah, he did.
yeah, I think there's a good.
Put me down for Ironhead.
Yeah, there's a good. If it's a second for me, just because I just really wanted to go with Lorenzo, I'd almost lean more towards Carney or Evans, just because they were true
Heath Evans. That was the
fullbacks,
other one. Yeah.
and had impact as a fullback. But yeah, I get it. All right,
I think
Ironhead.
I'm gonna go Ironhead too, but
yeah.
just as a Saint, I think he's a more iconic Saint than Lorenzo Neal. So I'm just gonna say that.
And the other thing is, all those other fullbacks, they only played like 3 or 4 years with us. So it's like no one had that 8 to 10 year longevity run at fullback with us.
Oh yeah, no, it's tough.
So it's tough. It's a bunch of people, and they're all in that same tier, and it's just a matter of like what flavor you prefer. Give me Ironhead.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to wide receiver.
Okay. Marcus Colston.
I knew he was going with that. That's
We,
why I
we have
teed
we
him
have
up
we have
first.
had this debate. I knew you were teeing me up, but I mean, look, I will say it again. He was the most consistent guy the Saints have ever had at the position. I know that Drew Brees was his quarterback, but the guy was a pure route runner, hands just some of the most reliable hands you could ever ask for in a receiver. The only knock, I think, one of the knocks against him would be he did have some fumbles after the catch, but they weren't, it wasn't like such a liability to where every time he caught the ball, you thought, oh, he's going to fumble. There was a time where we were debating this. I know I'll put the numbers together, but his overall stats. Do you have them pulled up there, or you're looking at Joe Horn?
Yeah, no.
I mean, like,
7-11 for 97.59.
and I think 7 was probably one of his lowest seasons.
No, I'm saying his total career stats: 711 catches.
But I'm saying like each season, if you go season by season, I believe he did not drop below 900, but what, once?
Twice.
Twice?
But because he was hurt, to be fair.
Right.
He had 4 seasons under 1,000.
I say
And the ones that were under 1,000
Were
were
close.
at 943, 902, 760, and then there's the last one he had, which
he only
520.
started 5 games.
Right. So for me, it's the consistency. It's the ability to just not only to get open when he had to get open, but when it was a contested catch situation, he's coming down with it.
I think
I don't agree with that.
Okay, fine. Don't agree with it, but
He wasn't a
here's my problem with your argument.
Okay.
All the things you're mentioning, there's a guy who did them all better.
You think Joe Horn did him better?
No, I think Mike Thomas did them all better. Didn't
Thomas did them all better.
So then
he had better hands. He was strong. He was strong at the point of attack. He won 50-50 balls. He was better at all that than Colston. Now, Colston's longevity, if we're
Right.
going to go longevity, okay.
that would be I'll give you that because I've been used to y'all's Joe Horn argument, and so that's where I thought you were going with that. But if it's between, because Michael Thomas would be my number 2.
I think
because of
those two are similar players.
because of his ability, and so the edge for me is Colston because of the length of time in which he did it, and even considering his QB. I'm not saying that, if we get into the hypotheticals, it's slippery slope. What would Colston have looked like with an average passer if he didn't have Drew Brees? I still think he would have been good. Is he guaranteed to have the same numbers? Of course not. Nobody that plays with a quarterback like Drew Brees is guaranteed to have the same numbers when they go somewhere else. So I'm not going to go that far, but I just think, but we're talking about Saints receivers, and
I
for
think
me, the amount of years he did it, the consistency with which he did it, the drop-offs from the 1,000 years were by, except for the last year.
I hear
by
you,
like
but you're
100.
giving a lot of merit to 1,023 yards, 1,074 yards, 1,038 yards.
Why should we not?
Because it's 60 yards a game, so it's nice, but tons of people do that.
for that many years.
Lance Moore did it once.
I mean,
Once, but I'm talking about like
I could give you probably. Should we just start naming some that?
I don't know. Go 900 for he had a stretch of from
He had-
2009 until 2014. He had 900 yards, and then he had a 4-year stretch of over 1,000.
He had 6 1,000-yard seasons.
How many receivers have 6 1,000-yard seasons in what 8-year span? 7-year span.
8.
Maybe not a ton, but I bet you they all have. If you have someone who's close to that, they probably have a better season than 1,200, even too.
I'm just saying, what other Saints receiver has done that?
Done what? 6
Has
of them?
had 6,000-yard seasons in 7 years.
6 and 8.
I think
6.
I thought it was,
Well, he
I said
did
8. Then you corrected
6
me.
of his
No, I
first
said
7.
8.
6 of his first 7 were right.
6 of his first 7, yeah.
Yeah.
But
6 of 10 overall. 6 of his first 7. Though.
Right. So we're
How
talking
many
about,
Saints have done that? I probably none.
Okay, so we're talking about best Saints receiver.
But is Joe Horn had 5? Is that right? How many Joe Horn?
4, but all were over 1,265.
Okay.
All 4 were above his best season.
3.
So what I want to say is
1,300 plus.
right. What I want to say about Colston is I think he is the best Saints receiver at one thing, and that's in the red zone. He was the biggest body.
Touchdowns.
His catch radius was great. I think if I had to pick one receiver in the red zone, I would pick Colston. I think Horn's the most dynamic receiver we ever
You
had.
wouldn't go with Mike Thomas in the red zone?
No.
Okay.
Mike Thomas to me was not great in the red zone. I mean, Mike Thomas only scored like 32 touchdowns in his career.
Yeah. But he only really had 4 years.
I don't know if he had he didn't have double digits ever. But Mike Thomas, I can't explain that. I don't know why he doesn't.
He never hit double-digit touchdowns. That's crazy.
Sometimes you hear like scholars use the word enigma, and I think the layperson thinks, why would you call him that? It's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
It just means he's like Mike Thomas can't be explained.
Yeah.
And I think that you get a lot of that with Mike Thomas.
I think Mike Thomas would catch anything you threw near him. I think what Colston could do is go up over people, and he has so many of those touchdowns where he's above the defender, catching high point in the ball. It was like that's what I thought he did better than any Saints receiver.
Colston had the ability to get physically higher than people, but one of the things I always liked about Colston and
Well, he was 6'4", so he had
he was
that.
6'4", but his fundamentals, his mechanics as a wide receiver, and obviously, I'm not speaking from any type of experience, but just as a football fan, when you watch these guys play, he looked polished out there, and he looked polished as a rookie. And so for me, it's the whole, I'm going to say body work a few times, I think, on this episode, but it's everything, and he used his body correctly. He boxed people out, caught the ball, extended out his hands, didn't wait for it to come to his chest. It's just, there's a lot of little things, devils in the details with Colston for me, that I just like about him better than any other Saints receiver in history. So
I think it's easy to like him more than Mike Thomas. I probably like him more than Mike Thomas.
I'm not saying as a person. I'm saying as
I mean, as a player, as everything.
No, look, it's like you could probably pick between Colston, Thomas, and Horn. They probably each have one independent thing that no other Saints receiver has done in Saints history. So with Colston, it's the amount of 1,000-yard seasons in X amount of time. With Thomas, no other Saints receiver has broken the NFL receptions record. With Horn, no other receiver has probably had, what was it, Max? 1,200, 1,300 yards in that amount of time. So I don't think there's really...
Your final answer is...
I don't think there's... My final answer is Colston, but I'm saying I don't think there's a wrong answer.
What you got? I'll go ahead and go.
You go first, and then I'll
I'm Joe Horn.
yeah.
Joe Horn was the most dynamic, and he was fucking dominant. His stretch from when we signed him from Kansas City, so he got here in his age 28 season, which is wild because his rookie year he was 24. Which you hear us talk all the time about age when players are drafted, skill position. You usually don't want to pick a guy when they're 24, 25. Horn as a rookie was 24.
Yeah, he was firmly...
Played 4 seasons in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Did next to nothing until his last year there where he had 586 yards, 6 touchdowns. He gets to New Orleans, age 28, rolls for 94 for 1348. Next year, 83 for 1265, 9. Next year, 88 for 1312, 7. Next year, 78 for 973, but 10 touchdowns. And the next year, 94 for 1399, 11 touchdowns.
So his never done it before Saints wide receiver stat would be no other Saints receiver, I don't imagine, has had, 1,300+ yard seasons in 5 years.
Well, he also hit the Pro Bowl 4 times.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's gotta count.
Colston never made a Pro Bowl.
Right.
Or an all-pro team.
It's because he was the quiet storm.
I think he was...
were these all pros or Pro Bowls? One of these has got to be. I'm going to look it up.
The 1399 year, I think he was all-pro.
Yeah. No, Horn's a beast. That's why I don't think there's a wrong answer, but you're right, Max. I mean, like, when
it's
Horn
4-time Pro Bowler.
when Horn was good,
No all-pros? He
No
didn't make
all-pros.
all-pro the 1399 year?
It's fucking crazy. man.
Who-
Especially back then.
Who would have been there? Would that have been like a Torrey Holt type
Yeah, yeah.
of situation?
Yeah.
Well, that's after their real prime. Who would that have been? That would have been like the Peyton Manning
Moss.
years. Marvin Harrison, Terrell
Moss.
Owens, Moss.
Yeah.
Okay, go say what you were saying.
What I'm going to say is about Colston is you're going with consistently above average over a good stretch of elite because
Yeah.
Horn and Mike Thomas were elite for 5 years, 4.5 for
Four.
Mike.
4 for Thomas.
The best first 4 years of a Saints career is Mike Thomas. Colston doesn't touch those.
I mean, for a while, Thomas had the best first 4 years of anybody.
Right.
I mean, until like
I think he
Jamar
still
Chase
has the
and,
catches, doesn't he?
I think Justin Jefferson may have.
Did he get catches? He definitely got yardage. Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson definitely passed yards.
It wasn't close on touchdowns. Let's just be clear on
Right.
that.
Yes. But so for me, like an elite player is different than a very good player. And if you're going to bring in the Breeze conversation, just a slightly, if you knock Colston down 10%, that's it. Let's just give him a 10% bump for Breeze, which I think it's way more for everybody, not just Colston.
Yeah,
It's across the
but-
board. Now you're talking he has 2,000-yard seasons, right? Because he was just at under 1,100 yards in 3 of those, correct? So
right.
So I have to at least take that into account. And I think we underestimate how good Joe Horn was because the teams weren't great in that era. They were good. We were competitive, but we weren't great. Mike Thomas would be my second, honestly. So for me, it's going to go Horn, Thomas, Colston.
That's my 3.
Who...
With an honorable mention to Eric Martin.
Yeah, but he doesn't get in the conversation. I think it's these 3 guys. I think that's the conversation.
I know, but you've been giving everybody their
Yeah, I
props
love Eric
for
Martin.
honorable mention, so go ahead and give him a shout out because he is second in Saints history in receiving yards. By the way.
8,800, something like that?
78-54,
Oh, what did Horn have as a Saint?
76-22.
Oh, I thought he was around 8,000. Okay, so that's less than I
Yeah.
thought. But
You think we should throw the graphic up since we're getting a little bit down the list? What do you think, Max?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. All right, so Nick and I are in agreement. Joe Horn, Corey's got Colston.
All right.
All right, let's move on to tight end. I mean, this one's should be pretty simple.
This one's pretty simple.
I'll go ahead and start us off. Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with Cam Cleveland.
I thought you were going to go with Josh Hill.
That's it.
No, I mean, I think it's pretty open.
Yeah,
and shut.
no,
Just-
I don't think we need to really debate this one, right?
Multiple All-Pro. That's not debatable.
Give him
The
his- give him his
honorable mention to
flowers,
Shockey
but,
for winning the Super Bowl and him coming here, which was really cool at the time. That's the only other. And then wherever you want to put Taysom, maybe a mention, but not a true tight end. Anybody else you could even mention? Hobie Brenner, Saints Hall of Famer.
No, but you just sank my battleship with the Taysom one because I got to figure out where are we including Taysom? Well, what position?
Well,
are
I
we
gave
calling
away
him?
my one where I was going to jump you.
I don't know. Could we have put him,
On your
considered him
special team
at fullback?
Shit.
I mean, if it's between Taysom and Lorenzo, I think even I got to go with Taysom if we're putting him in that position.
Go adjust it. I'm putting Taysom for fullback. I can't believe none of us thought of this.
But he only played fullback one
But
year.
he's not even technically a
Yeah,
fullback.
but he can block and he can,
Is there anyone that can?
he doesn't technically have a real position.
Is there anyone that can compete? Let's say we call.
Did we do what All Pro did and just make a utility position?
Well, I was
and
going to say,
just
like, let's just say we did a flex. Let's say we did a flex. Is there anyone that competes with him? Sproles? Do you consider
Sproles is
Sproles
the
a
only
flex?
Sproles
absolutely.
and Reggie.
Yeah, I was about to say Reggie. Like
It's
Joker.
Taysom,
Well,
though.
in true Saints fashion, we call it Joker.
It's Taysom. It's without question.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue.
Sproles is high. Sproles had the best Saints yardage year ever, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
But he's a running back.
Yeah, he is.
Taysom doesn't have a true position. I'm lumping him with the fullbacks because that's what he.
Because that's where he fits conveniently for you.
No, I mean that's where he lines up in the backfield more than anything else.
Now, that wasn't true until just now.
He wasn't running routes as a tight end more than
He was wildcat and running routes. We weren't even handing the ball really ever until recently.
Well, do we want to do a flex or no?
Should we just name one Taysom? I mean, flex. Okay, who could honestly? What would be the debate? Okay, Sproles, Taysom. Throw Reggie in there. I mean, Reggie's really a running back.
Yeah, but so is Sproles. But
they're running back. Dude, Taysom truly doesn't have a real position.
But there's no one in the NFL other than maybe Cordell Stewart you could put in this category of the last 25 years.
Right. I mean,
I know where you were going to put him, and I'm going to do what you're going to do.
Yeah, that's where I was going to put him.
Yeah. Okay. Just leave it as is for now. Let's move on to offensive tackle.
Yeah, we'll just,
This is another easy one, really, I hope, for everybody.
Well, we'll let Corey go first and see if he gets the easy layup.
You mean William Rofe?
There you go.
Yeah, I don't even know if...
we don't need to debate this one. Hall of Famer.
Is this one where you say who's the second best? Kind of like Breeze? I mean, we don't spend a lot of time on it, but, I mean, would you go with Armstead?
Ramczyk. I'd probably go Ramczyk.
I'd go Ramczyk.
Armstead's in the conversation.
Yeah, I keep forgetting we're not talking about left tackle. We're talking about tackle. So,
yeah.
I mean, Rofe is the only answer for number one.
What about
Armstead, Ramczyk.
Kyle Turley?
Turley? I love Turley.
I mean,
Love him, but no.
Yeah. Jamal Brown was a Pro Bowler. Turley was a Pro Bowler.
It's Ramczyk.
Bushrod was important because of
it's
the Super Bowl
Ramczyk.
years, but it's either Ramczyk or Armstead for me.
I think it's Ramczyk and then Armstead.
Ramczyk was on his way to Hall of Fame until the injuries cut him down.
No, I mean, but
He's got all pros on his resume.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, it's Ramczyk without question after Rofe. It's not even close.
But Armstead made what? I mean, how many Pro Bowls Armstead made? 4?
It's a big difference
He
between.
didn't hit any all pros, I don't think.
No, I don't think he did either.
Well, it's hard. It's harder to do that at left tackle than right. I mean, like left tackle's got the best best tackles in the league.
Yeah.
The competition's greater if you're talking about league accolades. But
Armstead was a more talented player.
Yeah,
Ramczyk was a better player.
I'm not saying Armstead's definitely better. I'm just saying for me it's close. I don't know, but
to me it's clearly Ramczyk, and if you could put Rofe and Ramczyk, that's your all-time tackles.
Oh,
right
he
there.
did make one second team All-Pro.
who's that? Armstead.
Yeah, and 5 Pro Bowls. So,
Yeah.
but two with the Dolphins. When was our last year with us? 22 or 21?
The year we tried to sign Deshaun Watson was when he left. Remember, he was thinking about coming back if we would have got him, supposedly. To me, it's Ramczyk after Rofe, but Rofe is number one, which for our purposes is all that really matters.
It was 4 with us. 4 Pro Bowls,
All right,
one
so now
All-Pro.
We got the graphic on the screen so people can keep up now that we've gotten into it a little bit.
So what's next?
Guard.
Guard.
This one's easy too for me.
Joey Evans.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
even.
yeah,
He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and mark that one down. We don't need to go for a number 2 on that. I think quarterback's the only one that we can debate the number 2 just because it was a fun debate.
I mean, Jari should be a Hall of Famer. Rofe is a Hall of Famer. Drew's a Hall of Famer. AK has a chance at Hall of Fame. I think Jimmy has an outside chance at Hall of Fame. Some of these just aren't really arguable. You don't have multiple players at a position where we don't. That
All right, so here's a fun one.
This
Center.
one's hard. This one's real hard.
Corey, go.
It's tough because I think about team wins when I'm thinking about the centers, but to me, the most dominant one we've had, I keep going back to LaCharles Bentley. I mean, he was just a beast.
I feel like he played that long with us, though.
He didn't, but then again, like it's either
He was probably
him
here at least 4
or
maybe 5 years.
or there's
Charles.
there's
looking it up.
there's him, there's Goodwin, Fane, Unger, and then there's guys probably way back that I'm not even.
LaCharles played 4 years in the NFL. God, it's crazy.
Yeah,
But didn't he make All Pro or Pro Bowl?
All Pro Rookie of the Year,
yeah.
Pro Bowl.
He was a beast.
I mean, he was a beast. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we forget that, but it was short. It was
Right.
4 years all with us.
In what
All
year?
with us.
It
Yeah.
was.
Oh, but timeout. He played right guard for his first 2 years. He only played center 2 years with us.
No, I thought he was always a center.
No, that's right, because he got
forgot that.
drafted
Okay.
when Fontenot was here.
That's right.
And they
yeah.
slid him over to right guard. So he only played center 2 years.
Yeah, it's a shame. He was such a good player.
Yeah.
We met him when he came into Belloluna.
Yeah.
I mean, Fane was really good.
But
Goodwin-
do not, no. Fane, no.
I'm not
There
saying.
was-
I'm talking about like the good ones. I'm
Let
not-
me share a little story about one Jeff Fane.
oh, okay. There's a
So
story.
we were, this would have been the.
Is this a football related story?
No, this is a red eye.
This is a red eye related story.
Okay.
It was the second year of the Sean Payton, Drew Brees era. Nick and I had gone to Indianapolis for the season opening game with KG and Scott Ray. We watched the Saints get absolutely obliterated. That actually would be a fun episode to recap that whole trip. But we'll move on from that.
Yep.
Anyway, so the Saints started off 0-4 that year. And this is, I was managing Restaurant August.
There's a few of those years.
Yeah, there were. So anyway, we're at the Red Eye enjoying cocktails as people do at the Red Eye.
Sure.
And it's pretty late, the night before game, and Jeff Fane is behind the bar
At the red eye.
at the Red Eye, like slumped over. And they're trying to wake him up to clear out because he's got a game in a few hours. So that team had some issues. I think we started off 0-4 a couple times in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That did it.
he is
So-
absolutely not getting this honor.
Regardless of his
Because
play on
it
the
is an
field.
honor to be named the number one center on our list.
So I think the problem with center, Corey kind of mentioned all the main names of recent times. Unger was a great center, but again, 3 years?
Yep. None of them were here. That long.
Goodwin was only starting 4 years, right, during the Super Bowl run. I think he left the year after. So I'm going to go back to childhood on this one, too.
Oh, yeah. Who you got?
Saints Hall of Famer Dombrowski.
Oh, yeah, that's my
Yeah.
guy, too.
So since no one played long enough, I don't know how many years he started at center, but I
looking
think
it
it
up
was
right
a
now.
bunch. He was probably a Saint for a decade. I think he was at center most of the time.
Jesus. He played from 86 to 96.
Wow.
Oh, hold on, though.
How many years at
They
center?
don't log him as a center once.
He definitely played center.
Tackle, left tackle, left tackle, left tackle, left guard, left guard, left guard, left guard, guard, left guard, left guard, left guard.
Okay. I thought for sure he played center. Can you see? What is that, Wikipedia?
This is just this is pro football.
Game by
Look
game.
it up on Wikipedia and see if you can see anything on center. I'm almost certain he played some center.
So now you're going to trust Wikipedia, which
No, probably
can
shouldn't.
update.
But I don't know that.
Corey might have updated this. And
I don't know if there's any good place to
Nah,
look
no.
for stat lines on offensive linemen.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. So Jim Dombrowski, after seeing action only 3 games as a rookie, he became a consistent starter in his second season, played left tackle until the middle of the 89 season, then played left guard until his retirement in 96.
Okay, so I'm wrong. Did not play center. So, man, we got to really look at this then.
Uncle Computer was wrong.
I was wrong.
Wow.
You watched The Bear?
Like not the most recent season. Like I haven't watched the new season.
But you've
premiere
seen
yet.
some of them.
Did he,
Yeah, I've watched.
This is Uncle Computer.
Which one was Uncle Computer?
The guy that
Who you
comes
call?
in and just starts spitting out stats and he's like, you're going to go out of business if this doesn't happen. And
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot they called him that. Yeah.
look up.
Great
Did he,
show.
a human
I mean, great
computer,
show.
okay.
But
did
yeah.
he make any Pro Bowls or anything?
Jim Dombrowski.
Nick's like,
does-
please tell me someone recognized him as a center.
I don't. No. I mean, I'm just curious if he made a Pro Bowl.
well,
No.
I didn't think he did, but he played for a long time. How many years was it?
10.
Man,
10,
I
yeah.
thought it for sure he played center. Who played center in the 80s? Late 80s when we had the good run game.
I don't know.
Who
Okay,
was
so I'm
it?
looking up Crescent City Sports. They did their top 5 centers in franchise
Was it Hilgenberg?
history. That's who you're thinking of.
That might be who I'm
Yeah.
thinking of.
So this article has the top 5 best centers in Saints history. Number 1, John Hill.
He's a Saints Hall of Famer, too.
Jonathan Goodwin at 2. Joel Hilgenberg at 3.
and
Jerry Fontenot at 4.
Okay.
Well, Charles Bentley with his
4 years.
5.
So, again, we didn't watch John Hill, but he
Joel
is a Saints
Hilgenberg.
Hall of Famer, just like Dombrowski and Hilgenberg's a Hall of Famer, Saints Hall of Famer.
But you're right. I mean, this is a position where you've had multiple really good guys play for just those spurts.
Yep.
So it's hard to say who's the best all time franchise history.
Dude, Goodwin only played
But
like 3
4
seasons.
years,
Let's say
Yeah.
it wasn't that long. Because
Before we move, let me look at Joel Hilgenberg real quick just to kind of.
he played a long time here, too, I think.
so do either of y'all have a final answer or still TBD?
For some reason, they only list a 1 year out of his 10 on here.
It's too far back.
He played 10 years. It was all with us, right?
Yeah, it looks. Here we go. Let's look at this real quick. So
note to self: don't try and Google offensive lineman stats.
okay, here we go. Hilgenberg was selected by the Saints in the 4th round in '84. He spent 10 years with the Saints, earning Pro Bowl honors in '92. Was selected as one of the greatest 50 players in franchise history. I'm going with Joel.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think.
Pro Bowl in '92.
I can't believe I mixed that up though. That's who I was thinking of.
I mean, damn it. LaCharles had his 2 Pro Bowls in 2 years.
And he was rookie of the year, right?
Yeah, but as guard.
That's true. 2 years now. You got to give it to the 10-year center, dude.
How about Eric McCoy?
You could.
If he keeps playing.
I'm going Eric McCoy. Put me down for Eric
All right,
McCoy.
so you're off of Hilgenberg. Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of the same kind of thing as our history, though. A really good player.
I believe it's Eric with a K, sir.
Yeah. We don't. It is a K. Oh, Corey.
Come on, Corey.
We're all fucking up right now.
I can't keep up.
Well, he's giving some people the first initial, too. J. Evans. I mean, I think we all know who Evans is.
I just forgot if the H in Jari was before the R.
I knew this would be a tough position.
Is there an H?
Just put Evans. Let's keep it consistent. You got a full name here.
I'll take
We know who
Hilgenberg
McCoy
if
is.
Max is taking McCoy. I'll take Hilgenberg. Why not? We're gonna have 3 different answers to this because
Pay attention. He has Hilgenberg, not McCoy.
You got Hilgenberg?
Yeah.
Okay.
just because I don't think there's a definitive winner here. So we're gonna have 3 different people. I think all of them are good. LaCharles Bentley was probably the best player, so Corey's right there. McCoy probably has the most.
Making
Thank
Max
you.
happy
Make it
here.
consistent. There we go. Like, we know who
You happy,
Horn is.
Max?
There's no second player in Saints history named Horn who was any good.
You don't think I have to do a W Rofe?
I mean,
I'm kidding.
that would be...
Okay, so I think that position and fullback are 2 positions that are wide open.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the defense.
There we go.
So, this one's good. We're going to start off with the tricky one because we combine outside linebacker and defensive end to
Yep.
edge because in today's game, I think we see that the edge position is prevalent now. Even Madden, which Nick and I were talking about, Madden has actually changed the designation to edge now. As
It's like
opposed to
stock
outside linebacker and
is
defensive
edge.
end and all that. So
It's all over the place.
they're finally getting with the times because it is edge.
I feel like give it 10 years is going to change back. Like when the trends change. I don't know, but whatever. Yeah, that's fun.
Is this is this the biggest debate position of the whole thing? I think it is for me.
I think it is too.
I think we're
We're going to let Corey go first. on
Even
this
more than wide receiver, I think this is harder.
Yeah, I mean, it's the position where I think you've got probably the most talent.
For sure.
one. Yeah.
And also different. It's tough because it's different type of talent. Like we've got really good traditional, down linemen, defensive ends. We got really good guys who performed more like an edge. But yeah, for me, I got to go with Ricky. Yeah, I mean, it's just he played for forever. He's an NFL Hall of Famer for a reason. And when he was dominant, nobody could fucking stop him. I mean, you watch the videos. I'm sure the stats could line up for other people, but
Not really.
But it's kind of tough.
Go look at his forced fumbles, his fumble recoveries. You compare that to, I think,
He's a freak.
he was dominant. He was, I don't know how many Pro Bowls, multiple.
All of them, every year he played.
Well,
Almost.
hold on. To Nick's point, forced fumbles. Number one by
A mile, right?
A mile.
Yeah.
Team history.
Ricky had 38 forced fumbles.
Yeah.
Cam
Jesus.
Jordan had 15. Wayne Martin had 12.
Yeah.
Swilling had 24.
They were the
Let's
two
say,
best
I mean, like
ever.
Swilling.
Will Smith, 20.
Yeah.
Smith was badass.
Oh, hold on. Wow. No, I'm sorry. Never mind. Disregard. I was looking at the wrong line. I almost had a heart attack.
So I'm going to run through the names real quick just before
Yeah,
we get too deep into
But
it.
I'm going Ricky.
This was the position for the Saints in the 80s and 90s of where we constantly had a difference maker in this position. Ricky, Pat Swilling, Wayne Martin spent a lot of time at defensive end. Ronaldo Turnbull was an all-pro, I believe. Then coming more recent, you have Cam and Will Smith, right, being the two that you would put in the conversation. But to have that level, Ricky, Pat, Turnbull, Wayne Martin, all at kind of the same time in like a 15-year span, we had dominant defense.
Yeah.
And it's what we struggled with, even in the Breeze era, is finding a dominant guy like all those guys. It's like we just hit a drought.
Yeah.
So I think those are all the names. For me, I'll go before Max. Let Max finish this one out. It's Ricky. And
I'm going to go with
honestly, for me, it's not super close.
Ricky with an E.
You got that one, right?
Yeah.
But Jackson.
Again, if you're going to
just changed it.
if you're going to go back to the best single season and say there's a lot of contenders. Pat Swilling was Defensive Player of the Year for the NFL.
Yeah.
Cam had that 16 sack seasons where he batted over 10 balls down, and that season that Cam had was an unbelievable season. His first team All-Pro year.
Yeah.
Wayne, what was Wayne's best year? 15 sacks.
15 and a half.
15 and a half sacks for Wayne Martin. Turnbull had a
15 and a
huge
half,
17 for Turnbull, maybe in his All-Pro year.
Basically, what you're getting at is we would kill for any of these guys.
Any of
right
those
now.
guys, right?
Good old Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson
back
was a
in the
great
day.
player.
Joe Johnson was a good player.
He had a
Really good player.
a couple
50,
stretches.
50 and a half career sacks. His best season was, he only had double-digit sacks once, 12.
Who?
Joe Johnson.
That
I like
tracks.
that.
But he was a really good. What about Turnbull? Look up Turnbull.
Turnbull had that 1 year right after we.
Right after Ricky left, right?
Yeah, Ronaldo was the shit.
Briefly.
Yeah, it was short, but he had a crazy
He had
season.
9 as a rookie, then 1.5, 13.
13, yeah.
That's his one Pro Bowl year, and then 6.5, 7, 6.5, 1. So he had the 1 year. Pro Bowl and All Pro.
All Pro. He was All Pro that year. I thought it was more than 13. That was my bad. I thought it was like a 17.
I mean, it's still a damn good year.
All Pro is
All pro at that
Right.
position in that era is impressive.
So for me, having Ricky and Pat at the same time is crazy. Pat even left and was an All-Pro after here for 1 year with Detroit. I think Ricky may have made a Pro Bowl with the 49ers, but he didn't go All-Pro, I don't believe.
Yeah. I mean, he was still damn good. But
And he won a Super Bowl there. So Ricky got his Super Bowl by going to the Niners.
Yeah, Ricky did not have any Pro Bowls or All Pros with the Niners. With us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Pro Bowls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 All Pros. 1 Defensive Player of the Year.
Wait, Ricky was Defensive Player of the Year too? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just
what
Pat.
year was that?
1992.
92, yeah. That was,
awesome.
that was the year all 4 of them went to the
13
Pro Bowl,
and a
right?
half sacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All 4 made the Pro Bowl that year. Yep.
3 fumble recoveries, 6 forced fumbles.
Yeah. So for me, I think he has the longevity, he has the numbers, he has everything.
And-
Average per season, I don't know this for fact, but I bet his sacks per season is the best in Saints history. Obviously, turnover creator, best in Saints history.
Yeah. He's also got the eye test.
And he's
You know.
a NFL Hall of Famer. So it makes it a little bit easier. But we've had some really great players here.
Yeah, put me down for Ricky as well. It's a simple answer. You know, he was just an Iron Man. He was a machine. I remember he got in the that car wreck.
Oh, yeah.
I remember they had to do that special face mask, which just
right.
looked badass.
The cage.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
an absolute animal. You know, I'm looking at this. Started every damn game he played with us. Only missed a couple of games. Honorable mention, you know, we got to give our guy Cam a shout out. You know,
Yeah. I mean,
he's probably going to, there's a good possibility he catches Ricky in terms
He will.
of sacks on the Saints. So
Yeah.
he should be our all-time sack
if we were
leader.
doing the lineup style episode depth chart, you'd probably go with Cam or Pat. But
Cam is almost the defensive end equivalent of Colston. It's just that consistency.
Yeah.
You know, he played every damn game. Like, he just didn't miss
Yeah.
any starts.
Yeah.
You know,
but he plays the position the way it's supposed to be played. Like
where
it's,
he had solid production all throughout his career.
his
Max,
run-
I don't see him winning
This is on Pro Football.
Defensive Player of the. You sure it was NFL?
I don't know.
What year?
It says AP.
MVP voting.
I feel like I would have known this.
Why the hell?
5th? I mean, maybe just said that he.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Fifth place.
Fifth
Okay.
place.
All right.
Yeah.
I think Pat Swillen's the only one in Saints
You're
history
right.
that's done it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would they put this on here for 5th place?
They do that for MVP too. So offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, and MVP they put where they ranked. If they ranked, I think in the top.
My apologies. I read that wrong. Either way, still Hall of Famer and the best Saints edge.
Who did win Defensive Player of the year he came in 5th?
Cortez Kennedy.
Cortez Kennedy.
And
14
that's
sacks.
a damn good year. Junior
Where
Seau-
was Swilling in that?
Junior Seau?
in the-
Wayne Martin was
16th.
16.
Look at Wayne Martin, number 10.
We
Yeah.
had 3 in the top 16. that defense was something.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're all in agreement, Ricky.
Okay.
Yep.
Ricky, let's move on.
Defensive
All right.
tackle.
I don't think I'm missing something here, but Leroy Glover.
We
I mean-
discussed this, and for me, that was the no-brainer.
Yeah.
But Max brought up a good point, but then
because I'm trying to think of what am I missing? What's the two?
well, we
shy?
drafted Wayne Martin as a defensive tackle, but he played end in the 3-4.
In the 3-4. So he was.
Okay.
That's your 2,
I would
in my
still
opinion.
go with Leroy.
You probably got to go Leroy.
I think Leroy
'Cause-
was the most dominant player for sure, but Max, read off his years, but they were mostly
Wayne
at
Martin's-
DE. They were
Wayne
mostly at
Martin's
DE.
Okay, so
really
let's look at
good.
this.
Really good.
Leroy Glover, position defensive tackle, nose tackle. So with the Saints, they had him a defensive tackle, defensive tackle, defensive tackle, defensive tackle, defensive tackle.
He's a defensive
Yeah.
tackle.
So
He
they
was,
had him a
yeah.
defensive tackle every year.
Because ran a 4-3. It's him and Norman Hand,
Yeah.
Joe
let's
Johnson, and the other guy.
See
Who was
what Wayne Martin, how
Charles
they broke him down. Defensive end, defensive end, defensive end, defensive end, and
Yeah.
tackle, 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 tackle.
For who? Wayne?
He split time.
But tackle at the end of his career,
starting
not
in-
his big sack season.
Starting in
right?
95.
At tackle, 13 sacks, 11 sacks, 10 and a
Okay.
half sacks.
That's legit. I mean, you can't knock that.
I think it's a 2-man race. It's those two.
Yeah. It's
You got to. I guess you give the edge to Leroy though.
good. Yeah, I mean, Leroy would. It didn't matter where you lined him up. I mean, they would put him over the center, like nose up, off, a shade, 3 technique. I mean,
I love Wayne Martin. I just feel like when Leroy was here, we felt like we had the best defensive tackle in the league.
Leroy, I always think of Leroy as like, I'm not saying he was ever nearly Aaron Donald level, but when you think of a guy like in terms of build and versatility,
Yeah.
on the
His build,
interior,
I was going to say before,
build, yeah.
before
He
you
was-
even brought it up, he started the small tackle guy.
he was smaller, and usually if you think, okay, you're small for your position, that means you have to do one thing and one thing only and be kind of niche and different. But to the contrary, they were able to line him up in a bunch of different spots. And that reminds me of how, flash forward to modern day, how Aaron Donald was used. Obviously, the output, different story.
I think Wayne Martin's the
But-
same kind of you could have put Glover at end. Mm-hmm. You could have.
And I think there probably, if we went back, watched all the tape, there are probably some packages where they
They did,
yeah,
right.
But
It's those two.
yeah,
What's Wayne Martin? God, he had like 4 or 5 double-digit sacks. How many Pro Bowls did Wayne Martin make?
It's shit. I clicked on Frank Warren.
a lot, probably.
That's Saints Hall of Famer. Don't knock Frank.
That was the
Warren.
other thing. Leroy Glover had.
Jim Wilkes.
Let's see. Wayne Martin. 1 Pro Bowl.
Yeah, see, that's weird because he had double-digit sacks 5 times.
He had double-digit sacks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
5 times and only made 1 Pro Bowl.
All
That's
with the Saints.
that's crazy.
He's like the defensive version of Colston.
See,
Except he made 1.
Leroy had 2 Pro Bowls with us and 2 All Pros. Double-digit sacks twice.
Just twice.
That's my look. And I'll go with Leroy because he was a true defensive tackle and that was his primary position. I know Wayne Martin bounced back and forth depending on the year,
Yes.
but so I'll give it to Leroy. Wayne Martin's right behind him.
Yes. And if you're going to stick with your previous argument, Leroy was elite for a minute. Wayne might not have ever been elite.
He was fucking good.
He was the
dude.
Colston. He was the consistent. Mm-hmm. And Leroy was the guy who put up the couple monster seasons, got all pro.
Right. That's why That's why I'm going with Leroy. But it is close. It is close.
Okay. Leroy, same for you. Well,
You got him
Corey
all done?
started it. He said Leroy before
Yeah.
we even say anything.
So
So
everybody's on Glover.
Yeah. Okay. let's
This is
move
another
on
good
to
one. Is this middle?
linebacker?
this is
Yeah.
this might be 3 difference again.
Who wants to start? You go.
You know mine. Mine's easy.
Good.
DeMario for me. And I know y'all disagree. But
I don't know if I do.
No, I don't disagree.
oh, really? Okay. Because I remember last time we kind of did this, not the same format, but there was a lot of Vilma talk.
We did the all-time. No, we did the Saints top
Sam
10
Mills.
ever, which we need to redo that one because that was
Yeah.
2 years ago, I think. And then we did the all-time Saints starting lineup, I believe.
Yeah, okay. But the people we're discussing are this is tough. Sam Mills is a Hall of Famer. I think his run with the Saints is not as impressive as DeMario's run with the Saints. Sam's career is better than DeMario's still. But DeMario as a Saint is a better career than Sam as a Saint. Then Vilma being the Super Bowl team, for me, he falls short just because it's another one of those only a few years.
Quite long enough. Yeah.
Right. He was really freaking good for 3 years with us. That's it. So that's where I'm at. I'm with DeMario. I think for middle linebacker, and Vaughn Johnson should be in this conversation. I think he made 4 Pro Bowls. There's who else should we throw in this conversation?
Sam Mills, Jonathan Vilmer, DeMario Davis, Vaughn Johnson.
I don't know really who else.
Don't think anybody else?
Unless it's somebody from like way back when.
Like Curtis Lofton or somebody?
No.
Steve Stonebreaker.
That's awesome. That's a good one. So for me, it's DeMario because, he made All-Pro every year as a Saint until this past year.
Yeah.
The defense, when he got here, along with the good 17 draft, completely transformed the defense. And he's like a quintessential Saint. Like, for me, it's him.
I agree with everything you just said. To me, it's DeMario. 5 straight All-Pros to open up. Or no, he didn't get it his first year with us, but he got it the next 5 years. He's played 7 years here at this point.
Yeah.
He's still an absolute animal. And his surrounding talent wasn't as good as what Sam Mills had to work with. Sam Mills was flanked by 3 other Pro Bowlers. Vilma, love him.
He's third, if we're being honest.
He probably is. DeMario's number 1. Second best free agent signing in Saints history.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I want to be contrarian and say Mills, because for me it's between those two. It
is for me too.
Between those two. Yeah.
Yep.
Mills is my 2.
It's Nick's point that brings it home for who is the top Saint. And God, Mills was damn good, and he played a hell of a role, like very important role in the Dome Patrol defense. Like they all, I don't think they do as well without every single one of them. But the other thing that's impressive too about DeMario, it's not that Mills. It's not like Swilling and Ricky and Vaughn Johnson and Wayne Morton. Like it's not like those guys necessarily made Mills better. If anything, Mills helped the other guys do what they did better. But DeMario especially, I mean, like, he's really on an island. He always has been with the Saints defense. I mean, he has been responsible for covering so much ground, for rushing the passer, for covering, for just stopping the run. I mean, he does it all.
I think that's the biggest point. I agree.
He operates with Pete Warner. He's always had another linebacker, but like, you're not talking about 4 linebackers rolling out there or 3 all the time. I mean, the amount of times that he has been the responsible, not lineman, not DB, whether it's a nickel or dime package, and he's lived up to the task is impressive. So that, and then the amount of years he's done it as a Saint, that pushes him over for me.
He's had his hand in the ground rushing the passer. He's guarding the tight end 40 yards down the field. Yeah. He does all of it well. He's running all of it.
Like, back when they were both healthy, especially the running back, he was running step for step with McCaffrey at times. It's like, and he's not, doesn't look like he should be able to do that, but he does.
Yeah.
And every next year that he's played, I mean, he was maybe a step slower last year, sure.
The shocking thing to me about DeMario,
he keeps doing it,
is why did it take coming here? It's just shocking to me because he's that good. I mean, and he was good early in his career, but he could literally do everything. Those DCs couldn't figure out a way to use him properly. It's just bizarre to me. It's like Trey Hendrickson.
Some guys just fit so much better in a different scheme. I mean, we already brought him up once, but Zach Bond, like, we couldn't figure out a way to get Zach Bond on the field. The Eagles say, what are you talking about? Put the dude here.
Yeah.
And there he goes. I mean, but totally different defensive scheme, totally different personnel around him. So, hey, worked out for us.
I just feel, I get it with Bond, right? And I get it with that play. When I see DeMario, he seems like any system fits his game to me.
Yeah, no,
when I watch
it seems elementary. Like, you look at the dude and you're like, oh, linebacker.
Oh, you want him to be a coverage linebacker? No problem.
I mean-
you want him to be, sideline to sideline? No problem. You need him to get down on third down in blitz? No problem.
Some people, like, regardless of
No,
like,
it just takes longer for some people.
age,
Yeah,
whatever.
it could
like,
just be him.
Some people just look like they're meant to play that position. You look at DeMario and you're like, you're built like a linebacker should be built.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
No, we're all. Wait, did you pick?
I'm picking DeMario.
Okay.
I mean, I'm real close to Mills, but it's got to be DeMario.
I'm trying to see where's his tackle number at right now. 1376. So he's passed up Sam Mills in tackles.
That is a lot
for
of
a career.
tackles.
I think he's now in the
That's a
top
shitload
20
of
all time.
tackles.
I think he's top 20 all time.
Yeah.
But also keep in mind, he has 44 and a half sacks
Yeah.
from the middle
and
He's
linebacker.
another one that's right on the cusp of the Hall of Fame.
The only weakness in his game is the same as Cam's, which is unfortunate.
And also,
Is that neither of them cause turnovers.
It's crazy.
He's got a lot. Didn't he drop like 3 interceptions last year? At least
Yeah.
2. That's in the
It's
same
not his
game.
forte. Yeah, it's just not. And what's he got? Hold on. Career, forced fumbles, 4.
That's crazy.
That's a crazy stat.
That's a half a season for Ricky.
That's perplexing to me. I mean, when you look at a guy who's got his nose in it as much as he does,
yeah,
it's really,
and career interceptions, 4. So he just doesn't force turnovers. Same with Cam. It's weird because they're such good players.
You don't ever want to say somebody that good is bad at anything, but when it's that low, you're like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you just can't be that good at both, like wrapping up to get.
I mean, either way, he's the best linebacker,
Yeah.
middle linebacker.
but that is an interesting stat.
All right, let's slide on to cornerback. Corey, you go. I know Nick's answer,
Yeah, I mean, I'm
and it's my answer as well.
but Marshawn.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who would go against him in this case.
You're making a really heartfelt Saints campaign if you're going to go against it because, like, we love certain players. Right?
Yeah, I
Mike
mean-
McKenzie, we love. Jabari Greer.
It's another position
Had
where
some
the
really
guys just there's no one else that's been
With
here.
tenure.
And not that Marshawn was here for an extremely long time, but it was still a longer stretch than, an Eric Allen, Mike McKenzie, Jabari. Tracy
He was in
Porter's
his-
stretch was nice, but it was
his
a year.
8th year here. So he was in his 8th year when we traded him.
Yeah. So yeah, it's got to be Marshawn. I mean,
Anybody else even considered?
Johnny Poe.
Johnny Poe, Toy Cook.
Dave Waymer?
I was about to say, you brought up
He's
Waymer,
mostly a safety for us, right?
but,
He came in as corner, right? Moved to safety.
God,
You got to consider him for safety. We'll get to that in a second. We didn't talk about him earlier, but you got to consider Waymer for safety. I think he's got like close to 50 interceptions. In his career.
Hold on, dude. They had him as cornerback from 80 to 89.
Oh, really?
An
Okay.
89 free safety, 90 both safeties, 91 strong safety, 92 just says defensive back.
He was
No,
he's an underrated player. That guy was incredible.
no
30.
no Alex Molden for y'all.
No.
Waymer had 37 interceptions with us, I believe.
Yeah, and he ended up with over 40 for sure. Where did he end up? I thought he ended with close to 50 after his time with the Niners.
48.
48. That's a great career.
Great career.
That makes it debatable then.
He's got to be your number 2.
At corner.
Yeah.
How many did he have as a corner with us?
He played from 80 to 89.
Can you add them up real quick? How many did he have as a corner?
Oh, interceptions as a corner?
Yeah.
4, 8, 14, 23, 28, 31.
That's legit. That's totally legit. That's really good. Different era.
Where the ball wasn't thrown as much.
No, but there were way more interceptions in the league back then.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, but I'm not putting him ahead of Lattimore. How many Pro Bowls did he make? Did
Just
he make
the
any?
one, I
Just
think.
one? Yeah. I mean, I think Lattimore for about a 6-year stretch was in the conversation of the top 5 in the league. So for me,
Waymer's another.
I love Waymer.
He's another Colston. Just the longevity. He just did it really well, but not super elite. But it just added up.
I'm gonna stick with Lattimore. He's probably second. I wouldn't have thought of that until we just brought it up.
I thought
He's
you were
gotta be
I thought you were
second.
going to come in heavy with him. You've mentioned him a few times.
I like him. I thought he played more of the time at safety.
I thought you were too. Yeah.
We drafted him at corner,
Played
I'm
corner
talking
for
about
8
Wayman.
years, man.
Yeah, I didn't realize he played it for 8 years. I knew he switched. I thought he switched sooner than that. That's a hell of a career. 48 interceptions is nuts. I know they weren't with us, but that's still nuts.
37 were with us.
Yeah. Is that our all-time leader or is Sammy
Yeah.
Knight?
Tom Myers is second with 36.
So we all Lattimore, but Waymer's a close second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honorable mention.
Nope. Come on, keyboard.
That's a very interesting spelling of Lattimore.
Latto.
Lattimore. All right, let's move on to safety.
This is a fun one.
This is a fun one.
What up, Roman?
Roman, Malcolm, Honey Badger, Sammy Knight.
Yeah, I kind of drift to Sammy. But the question again is long enough, dominant enough. I mean,
J.J. McCleskey.
Mean Gene Atkins.
Gene Atkins.
I fucking love Gene Atkins.
He was strong.
He played for us for 7 years.
Yeah. He's a Saints Hall of Famer. Isn't he?
Did a little bit of both. Strong for his first 3, free for the rest.
He's a Saints Hall of Famer, I think.
Brett Maxey.
Maxey just made the Saints Hall of Fame this year. Congrats. And
Marcus Williams.
he went in with Tracy Porter this year. Marcus Williams, no way.
Jenkins only had 10 interceptions with us.
So that,
Yeah.
like the knock on Jenkins is he wasn't very stat heavy, but the defense was obviously better when he was in.
He started a little slow too because we drafted him
Yeah.
as a corner.
Yeah,
he wasn't quite, and we knew we were probably moving him to safety, but
Yeah, he didn't actually become a safety till later.
Okay, hold on. Let's go ahead and bring up the elephant in the room.
Darren Sharper.
Darren Sharper
Yeah,
only played 2 years with us.
but
Both years were all pro.
they were really good.
He didn't deserve all pro.
He
the
didn't
second
deserve all pro the next year, but that first year is arguably the best safety season of all time.
I think he was the defensive player of the year that year. Look up who won it that
He
year.
came
It's
in
a crime.
third.
It's a
What in
crime.
the fucking hell?
I mean, he definitely had the
It's
best.
a J.J. Watt season, maybe, or something. No, that's before J.J. Watt.
Charles Woodson,
No, come on.
Darrell Rivas second, Elvis Dumerville third,
Wow.
Sharper fourth.
That's a crime. He had almost 400 return yards. Or
Woodson had 9 picks and 3 touchdowns.
so did Sharper.
I know, but it's not like Sharper just smoked him. Sharper had more yards, but
I remember Woodson's year being really good that year, but I agree. I mean, Sharper was out of the park that year. He just was. You can't.
And we were the 1 seed in the NFC. He's the reason the defense was.
I hear you. But Woodson,
It's a good year.
I'm not going to
Okay.
argue with it.
That's the year Woodson went to safety, right?
This is another.
No, they had him at cornerback. He
For
had
Green
2
Bay?
sacks. Yeah, 2 sacks, 9 interceptions, 3 touchdowns.
This is another Saints position where
You got 56%.
there's a
of the
lot
votes,
of
too.
people with good spurts. It's pegging like who is that definitively like most consistent best. I keep going back to Sammy Knight, but I'm like, how many seasons did he really produce at that level? Because I mean, it could just be
a lot.
A lot. I'll pull it up.
He's a Colston. So this
Yeah.
should be right in your warehouse.
I was about to say maybe that's why I keep going back to it.
He was like 5 turnovers a year every year.
Yeah.
Sammy Knight played 6 years with us. Interceptions, he went 5, 6, 1, 5, 6, 5.
There you go. That's really good.
I'm just gonna stick my gut on that then. The stats confirm it for me. He was just always around the ball. Even when he didn't have the stat, if he didn't get the interception, didn't get the fumble, he was always right there. Like, just
No, I'm there. I'm with you. I'm going Sammy Knight. Nick and I were talking about it before you got here. Sammy Knight for me.
yeah.
I think it's Sammy too. I will say Darren Sharper is the best safety to ever play for the Saints, and it's not close. He is far better than anyone who's ever played
Without
for us.
question.
That season is insane. We all know he's not going to the Hall of Fame, and rightfully so, but he's a Hall of Fame safety who's not in the Hall of Fame because he's a terrible
obvious
person.
reasons. Yeah.
But as a football player, he's the best safety that's ever put on a Saints uniform.
Without question.
the hard truth.
Mark us down. So I got Knight. You got Knight. Nick, who'd you go with?
Knight.
Okay, so 3 for Knight. All right, let's jump on over to special teams. Start off with punter. Come on, this one should be easy.
Yeah, Morstead.
Yeah, we're all sticking with Morstead.
We're
Russell
going Morstead.
Erksnaben.
Okay, it was
But,
Tommy
both-
Barnhart. You know?
There's no E.
What? There isn't? Okay. When did he change that?
Recently.
He's still fucking playing. He just got signed by the Niners. Good for him.
Yeah. Kicker.
Morton.
This is easy.
Yeah, Morton.
If you have a Hall of Famer, he gets the spot.
All right, now we get to the fun ones. Kick returner, punt returner.
But should we knock out special teamer first? Or just leave it?
We'll save that one for last.
Okay. Kick returner, punt returner. There's so many different ways you can slice this. You could
There's
go
a
by,
lot of
you can-
prime candidates
You can
here.
go by stats. You can just go by eye test. They all have about the same longevity. I think the ones we've talked about, because Tyronn Hughes, Beerman, who was the other one?
I don't think
Like,
that's true.
Yeah, I don't think so
Longevity
either.
wise. 'Cause we have-
I'm inclined to go with.
I think there's two that you can really say longevity.
I'm inclined to go with Hughes, because I think he was the most
Who'd you go with?
Tyrone. I think
This is a tough one. This one's
he was the most complete. You know, like he could do both. He was not frail like the beer man. You didn't have to worry about him getting absolutely killed.
I think the beer man had more yards.
But the beer man probably had more yards. I think he was a couple shades faster than Tyrone.
Tyrone could fly too.
I gotta.
Well, timeout. Tyronn Hughes had 2 interceptions as a rookie. Had 2 interceptions his second year.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. He was a corner.
He was more. He could do a little more, but but as a returner, I mean,
Hold on. His rookie year. This is crazy. 2 interceptions, 3 fumble recoveries,
Jesus. That's
2
DeMario's whole career.
touchdowns,
defensive touchdowns or return touchdowns.
defensive touchdowns.
Wow.
So he had 2 interceptions, 2 defensive touchdowns.
What the hell happened to him on defense?
And then he had 2 punt return touchdowns and a kick return touchdown.
In the same year.
That's fucking insane.
That's a great year. It's awesome.
So he was a Pro Bowler and second team All Pro.
There can't
Yeah.
be many other people that have done that.
So let's talk about that real quick before we make our picks. All pros that we've had at the position, it's kind of crazy. I believe Mel Gray got an All Pro. Tyrone did. I believe Beerman did. Shaheed has. Deontay Harris has.
I forgot about Harris. Yeah.
Our returners are. It's pretty impressive.
Did Reggie never got it as a punt returner?
Mel Gray did not get Pro Bowl
nothing?
or All Pro with
Never?
us. No,
Oh wow.
not till we got to Detroit.
Oh, he did in Detroit. Okay.
Beerman.
What about Courtney Roby?
Beerman had the 1 Pro Bowl. If they come out as rookies and get the Pro Bowl and All Pro.
Yeah.
Beerman was a Pro Bowler and All Pro. his
There's a
rookie
formula.
year.
Deontay was same thing. He
Yeah.
was a rookie.
Shaheed was second year, right?
No, I think first year for Shaheed too.
So-
when he got it, right?
Second year.
I'm going Hughes. Where are y'all at?
This is going to be. I don't know. This one's hard for
I'm
me.
Tyrone.
It's one of those where you just have to.
No, I just remember how
Just gotta-
dangerous he was.
Yeah.
And I just remember one offseason they talked about using him on offense.
He was
the
a
next
serious
year.
threat.
He was incredible.
Beerman, we
It's
did
Tyrone.
use on offense.
Yeah, we lined him up at wideout. There's some-
Tyrone was better though, dude. Beerman was a better story. Tyrone
You're
was
not even.
better.
You're not even considering Sproles.
because punt return.
He's the best punt
Yeah,
returner
maybe
probably
not,
for
maybe
us.
not kick return, but
Sproles
punt.
didn't have a kick return with us. He only had 1 punt return with us.
What's his numbers though?
Oh, I mean, he's the best one overall.
No, I'm not. Just count his running back stats.
You know
That
what would be
doesn't count.
a
That
fun
doesn't count.
stat is touchdowns per return, and then throw Taysom into that mix
He's only got
because
one,
he's
right?
only
Look,
he
Sproles
didn't-
had 1 return touchdown. It was a punt in 3 years with us. Now he got to the Eagles and did 2 and then 2.
But, like, what were his averages? What you got?
10.1 and 8 and then 6.7. So he got progressively worse. Kick return 27, 26, 21.
Okay, so those are awesome kick return numbers.
Well, the first year was incredible because he did 294 in punt return yards, 10.1, which was his best average with us. Then he had 2,696 return yards.
That's because our
Kick return
defense was
yards. Yeah.
terrible. That's the year he set the
Well, that
Saints
was the
record
year-
for total yards.
Yeah,
He still has that record.
it's Tyrone.
But it's only 3 years. If I had to guess, I bet Sproles' numbers are the best kick return average for our team ever. My guess would be Tyrone had
tell
the
you right
best
now, hold on.
best punt return ever for us.
Well, you got some people in here skewing it with their goddamn 1 return for 63 yards. Somebody named David Rackley. Let's see. Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart.
Reggie Bush averaged 32 a kick return, but not that many. Just the one, I'm sorry. Kamara, 30 with his 17.
Yeah, that's skewed by the one touchdown.
Sproles, 26.1
Yeah,
on
so-
70 of them.
So he's first. What about punt return average? I would bet Tyrone's got punt return average.
Mel Gray, 13.5.
No.
He only had 49.
That's still a pretty decent number.
Shahid's at 12.5 on 54.
That's really good.
Michael Lewis, 10.4 on 142. Where is Tyrone?
Disrespected.
9.1 on
Wow,
116.
that's surprising. I would have thought he was. So Beerman kind of crushes him on punt return.
On average, yeah.
The Beer Man, Jesus, he had 142 punt returns. The next closest is Tyrone, 116.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. That's a toss-up because neither of them were in. I remember Michael Lewis getting hurt in New York the Katrina year. I went to that game, and it was so devastating. I think you're forgetting how,
It made a difference.
he did.
He was a difference
People were
maker.
scared of him. And I think the same of Tyrone Hughes.
I think people were more scared of Tyrone.
What was Tyrone Hughes? 94, 95, 96, something
Tyrone
like
only
that?
played like 3 years, dude.
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing. The Beer Man looks like played 6.
Yeah, Tyrone
only played 3 years with us.
his injury history wasn't good.
That's what they've all done.
Yeah.
Deontay Harris left after 3. Mel Gray left after 3, I
Yeah.
think. 3 or
Dude,
4.
it's tough, man. Tyrone really only had that 1 year. He didn't do shit after his
Well,
second year.
I know.
Final answer.
Fuck, man.
I'm a pivot. I'm going to go Michael Lewis.
I'm going Michael Lewis.
Cool.
I hate to say it, you kind of have to. 'Cause he played 6 years. Tyrone really only had that one.
Well, this is literally the first position since
Who'd you pick?
since the
Corey?
offense where we're different. I got Hughes.
I think all of those are good choices. Even if you pick Sproles, I'd be okay with it.
We literally had no disagreement since the offense till now.
That's bad. I'm surprised, actually.
All right, special teamer.
Taysom.
Taysom. That's where I'm putting him. That was my plan all along.
What happened to no white flags, guys?
No.
That's why we did this. I mean, Taysom.
Love him, but Taysom's block punts, fucking
Return kicks.
return kicks, gunner knocking the fuck out of people, and then yeah,
He's done more.
You're
He's
not
the
even
up
taking-
back on punts still.
He's done. He's done more. He's done more. I mean,
Corey, it's not close. I'm sorry, we all love Gleason. It's not close.
Gleason killed people on kick coverage.
Gleason was a great special teamer. Gray is a great special teamer. But thinking about Taysom,
like Gleason and Gray.
I know we're looking for a reason to put him there.
No, but
it's-
even Gray. I mean, like they have the special team play that doesn't really show up in the stat box, whereas Taysom.
maybe, but I don't think there's anything any of them do that Taysom couldn't do. If you put Taysom at gunner, God help you.
Yeah, he's got more blocks.
it's not close.
Yeah,
I think he's just the best player that
Yeah, you gotta
consistently
get
played
Taysom.
special teams. I think he's the best player.
I'm sorry, JT Gray goes on there ahead of Gleason.
Me too. But now, if we're talking about favorite Saints, then we'll change the discussion.
Correct.
Right, but if we're going off of
correct.
production on special teams,
I think Steve Gleason would actually agree with you on this.
yeah, Taysom. Taysom's got to get the nod, but JT Gray
He's
has an argument.
damn good. Yeah.
And Taysom's played special teams since he got here. It's not like he's played a year or two of special teams. He's been on special teams since he got to the Saints, even when he was quarterback and begged to get on to Peyton after the first year.
All right, so let's look at the list. You got it pulled up on the screen.
Yep. All right. So we got,
3 different on quarterback, 2.
putting it in a Word doc is the best way I could do it. I put QB2 because we debated
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Breeze. Everybody knows it's Breeze. I got Archie.
Can you
Max.
make it consistent so it looks the same? You got AK on instead of Kamara. If we're going to post this, because I have a feeling you're talking about posting it.
I mean, sure, Max.
Aren't you an attorney? Aren't you supposed to be consistent with this stuff?
Dude, it's a podcast.
It's,
I'm not filing this.
it's the intent of the contract.
I get to edit.
So let's see. Fullback, Neal, and 2 Ironheads. Wide receivers, Colston, Horn.
Yeah, but
Jimmy, Rove. Evans.
yeah.
Bentley, McCoy, Hilgenberg. That's a fun one.
Center's a good debate.
Yeah. Ricky, Glover,
There was
DeMario,
zero disagreement on
DeMario,
defense.
Lat, night. I love it. So you zigged on returner, so you stayed with Hughes.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, look,
There's definitely
depending on
a
the
case
point
to
of the
make.
day, I might change my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody would have gone, there's only a couple spots where you could have been like, we all have our opinions, but there's only a couple spots here where you could have been like, no, that is actually the wrong answer.
Right. like if you'd have put Reggie in there, I couldn't have
you'd have gone
knocked
with,
you.
like-
I mean, he had the most explosive returns in Saints history,
someone
like
comes
the
in
most
with-
important.
But if someone comes in with Hartley over Morton,
Yeah.
it's like, he made the most clutch kicks in Saints history. It's like, just get out of here. There's only a few of those.
Yeah, we
And I'm
can't just put the
surprised-
Super Bowl team
I'm surprised
down.
I
That's what
didn't
you
pick
mean.
one of them, to be honest. But
I thought one of you would go Vilma. I really did.
We last did this 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So in that 2 years, it was another All-Pro season.
Yeah. And another 100 tackle season.
Yeah.
I get it.
if he,
Yeah,
if,
so-
if he had a fall off earlier, then but yeah, I think
I'm still not ready to say he's at a fall off. I think he's slowing
I don't think he has
down,
had it, but
yeah.
I think if last season was a drop off,
I think when your defense drops off that bad, he's not going to get all pro. When we dropped to, a defense in the 20s, when we were a top 10 defense, basically, I think he wasn't going to make all pro, even if maybe he deserved it. I can't tell you stuff I watched on the field made it look like he was old. I don't think that was evident. I think he was still himself. Now, we all know that time's coming, but he hasn't slowed down much, if he has at all. And he only missed the one game, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
Well, this was fun. These are always fun episodes. I think we need to put into Discord for ideas on other list.
yeah.
We're going to run back some of the ones that we did a couple. Because we did them all, 2 years ago? We didn't do any.
I do want to do we've talked about the best Saints teams ever, and yes, there's always the debate between 09 and 11, but I think
And 18.
but a bracket.
You really want to just. That went horribly.
I need to redeem myself.
It was fucking terrible. It was your worst
my problem with
effort.
the bracket is
No,
you
but-
can only put four
we-
teams
we-
in this
no,
question.
Right, because there's only, and there's really only 3 of them. that
No,
are,
like to pick a semifinal. I'm not saying we simulate. I'm saying we should actually debate who.
that's fine.
You know,
There's only 3. There's only 3 real teams you can. Well, I guess you have.
2019.
You could put a 4th one. You could do the first.
You could
playoff
do
06.
team.
You could do the Jared Cook drop year. That was a fucking good team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the only real debate comes in between 06, 2011, 2018. Those are the only 3 who have a real case.
There's
In
no
2009.
debate.
There's no debate.
It's 9. Like, it's already settled. It's unanimous. It's 9.
Yeah.
And number 2 is 11. That's unanimous.
Yeah.
I
To
thought
me.
y'all were closer on 11 being better than 2009.
The offense was better. It wasn't a better team. The defense couldn't stop anybody that year. The offense is the greatest
defense-
offense to ever touch a field.
Right, and the defense wasn't as opportunistic as 09
Yeah.
because we didn't have.
For me, it's like
We didn't have
open
the
and shut
rapist.
case. It's
Yeah.
you won the Super Bowl. That's a 13-2 team, not a 13-3 team. We didn't play the last game, and you won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be number 1. The uncrowned number 1 is 2011.
Yeah.
I know everyone loved the 2018 team, but that team was not beating the 2011 team.
Yeah. We can
But that's
we can game it out.
I don't know about that. I think
Because there's
that defense was so bad. It let Alex Smith
I think
tear
it's
us
different
apart.
when you talk about like if they actually played each other. You start getting the matchups. It makes it interesting.
I'd take 18 over that team,
Yeah.
and I think the game would be in the 50s. But I don't.
18 was a better overall team, but that 2011 offense is the greatest in NFL history.
It was.
They're scoring on that
The
2018
only
defense.
100%. But the problem is it forced us to be perfect because the defense was so bad, and we had 3 turnovers in that game. Drew had 2 picks, and we had the fumble on the 5, and Sproles fumbled a punt.
Yeah,
did we have 4 turnovers that game?
Drew was pressing in that
Had
game.
to, because we were down double digits, and I mean he threw 5 touchdowns. Let's not put any of this on Drew because it was.
Remember, Pierre got knocked out
on the
first
5
series
and
with
fumbled.
that spear.
Yep.
Yeah, that was horrible. That would have been
Anyway, we're going to start running back some of those episodes we did two plus years ago and kind of get a more modern spin on them. Some things might have changed, like DeMario Davis being my pick. But I don't know. Anything else to add before we drop?
No, I mean, I think this was a good debate. I was going to say, as far as future episodes, if there's anyone's got like a really good, every now and then someone's got a really good debate question. You know, just like something that, a question, between these two guys or something like that we haven't thought of.
I mean, top 10 or top 20 Saints.
If
is
you're
always
sitting on a
super fun.
gem, just let us know.
We got to do that one again. We got to run that one back.
The which one?
That's changed. The top 10 or
Top
20,
10.
whatever we want to do,
We did
Saints
top
players
10.
of all time.
Yeah.
It's probably changed a little bit since last time.
Yeah.
Both of y'all have upgraded Demario clearly from the last time we had that middle linebacker discussion.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely run that one back. We
Sure.
got about 3 weeks before training camp starts, so we got some
Yeah,
time
July
to go ahead and crank a few
I think
more
they
out.
actually announced it today, July 23rd is
Yeah.
the first practice.
So about 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
So we'll start running some of those back. I think another game show ones are always fun because those really illuminate some things that we
Yeah, we need to start talking
Yeah.
about our roster and getting into that. Where does some of these people we're expecting a lot out of rank in the NFL? You know, so
We got to figure out who we would even game show. Things are so uncertain. So, but we'll talk
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
tough because there's so many rookies. I mean, we're depending on.
I mean, we're not going to game show Shuck or Rattler.
you can't.
we already know
You can't do it.
It's bottom
And-
5, right?
and-
Going into the season. Now, hopefully, Shuck can change that. But going in,
I wouldn't pick Rattler over a single starter. In the
That's what I'm saying. You
correct.
Can't,
Well, I'm saying our quarterback position we know is bottom 5. We don't
same
need
kind
to
of
rehash
That's
it.
what I'm saying. Same with Shuck.
Yep, same with Chuck because you just don't know yet. You got to see him play.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, we'll figure it out.
yeah.
We'll do something.
With that, we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode. Thank you for listening to the 28-3 podcast. Who dat?
Who dat?
What a comeback!